And this brings us to customers and pricing matrix. So if you think of a business plan as a race, this is starting to get tougher now. We're starting to run uphill. There's going to be a lot more work involved with this. Here's some data we want to try to answer or give to the lender that requires work. How many transactions do you have in the course of a month? What percentage of your customers is repeat? What percentage of your customers are drop-ins? Is your business seasonal or cyclical? What is your basic pricing and cost structure? And what's your gross margin? And what's your net margin? And how is your weekly or monthly break-even sales volumes? If you're a business startup, you're going to want to put what your estimates are, and you want to make sure that the estimates make sense, that the data that you're providing to the lender, that you got that data from somewhere. So say if you're an RV park, that you talk to other RV parks. If you're an Italian restaurant, that you talk to other Italian restaurants in town. And so that you can show that the lender that you did your homework, and these are the lenders, these I talked to, X amount of, fitness centers. And this is the data the fitness centers gave to me about how they started and where they're at now and things like that, so you can come up with yours. For us, when we see, we put down customers and pricing, because customers will be local business owners for the best pricing on a loan. That's where it's going to come from most of our market area. And advertising and market are the keys to our expected high user rate, and how important customer service is going to be. And although we don't have a technical open, a fast and slow season, summer months do tend to be a little bit slower, and winter months do seem to be a little bit faster. Pricing, I mentioned pricing again, very basic. To see view, one lender, you pay $150, two lenders, $250, three lenders, $300. And after 6 months, I put down here, gross margin is expected at 95%. So here, as a business is starting out, if you're talking about gross margin and net margin, feel free to put what time in the future will we be hitting these things. Below what I have is, this is a neat little Excel thing that I did for an RV park that was opening. So the owner of the RV park talked to other folks who have RV parks in the area, and we came up with this. So it's pretty easy to read. If you're a lender, it makes sense. As you can see here, this is the annual break-even point. Okay, so that's the name of the chart. And we have that for annual break-evens, 407,000. How do we calculate it? Well, here we broke down what the different seasons are. And the expected revenue, as you can see, the winter season is going to be the best because the vacancy rate is going to be lower, so you see a higher revenue. And then you see we broke it down into what's the percent of the total revenue, which is pretty easy. Just take this divided by the total revenue. And you come up with 53%, and he did that for the different categories. Once you have that, you can figure out what the break-even point is per quarter, because it represents 53% of the break-even. You have to hit that, which is 216. And then you see the total revenue is here. And then you can break it down to monthly break-even. So with this, you just divide this number by 4. This number by 4, and this number by 4. So you're dividing it all by 4 months. Okay, and in our analogy of a race, we're still running uphill. This is where we're talking about the market. So we're going to try to provide a lot of information that the lender's going to want to see in the business plan about the market. They're going to want to see the market segments, that you research that, and that you're going to be able to answer these questions. Where are the customers? Break it down between the neighborhood, the city, and the region, national, international. And list where your top geographical areas are. What is the primary markets for your products? If your customers are individuals, describe them in terms of their age, their gender, income, other factors. If there are businesses, describe their typical business customer. Who are your 3 major suppliers? List them down. Show that you've really done your research. Your customer base reference. Analyze your customer base, all your customers. Try to answer, or your perceived customers, answer these questions. What percent of your customers do you have in each product or service category? Who are your three biggest customers? List them. What percentage of your total sales do your top 5 customers represent? How dependent are you on these 5 customers? And as you can see, if you can list all this data on your business plan, if you're the commercial lender, if you're the underwriter looking at this, this is all great stuff to see. It shows really reflects well on you. For us, we put the market, we put what the current overall market has been, that has been steady as far as current overall market in the loan shopping business sector has been steady, and for years it's been in existence already. It's for residential mortgages where they can shop. In the past 10 years, business shop sites have emerged. Farther on, we put the inability to reach out to more than the problem that our customers have is that they really can't reach out to a bunch of businesses or a bunch of banks for a business loan because it's such a time-consuming process, and how this helps out age characteristics of business owners, and then I put what our anticipated age and the demographics are going to be. And then on the business plan, just for brevity, I didn't go farther into it and added more things, but when you do, you definitely do, and you want to make sure that you try to answer as many questions as these, provide the data where you're getting that information so that your loan request, that your business plan looks really professional. Okay, and then this is a great section you want to provide data on. This is staffing and subcontracting. What the lender, what the underwriter probably will be doing is they're going to be taking a look at this data and they're going to be comparing it to your projections that you provide at the end of the business plan. So you want to make sure the information that you put on here is going to match the projections as far as what your business expenses are. And on this, you're going to put, just like it says, describe who performs the various tasks for your business, answer these questions, how many hours do you work in your business week, is this thing going to burn you out, do you have full or part-time employees, how much are these employees going to cost you, is this being reflected in the business plan, do you offer them benefits such as insurance or vacation time, is this reflected into the projections, do members of your household participate in the business, this is a big plus, it helps keep the payroll lower, and this, if it's going to be lower than expected into the projections, at least you can justify why it's going to be lower because of your free wages, you're whipping your kids and helping you out. What are the roles that each of the people who work for the business, including yourself? So who does what? Do you got all the bases covered? And do you subcontract some of your work to other businesses? Who are your major subcontractors? Again, this is stuff that's going to be reflected on your projections, but you want to make sure that your projections and this match up. And this takes us to the industry section. Whenever we did business loans for clients before in the past, sometimes we get feedback from lenders saying the business plan, they feel it's a little too thin and they want to have some more information. So normally what they're asking for is more industry information. So feel free, as it says here, if you want to add fluff, this is the section to do it. Any information you can get about the industry as a whole would be a big help. Most of the lenders are just going to go over maybe the first paragraph or a summary of it and then go on to the next section. But this is a great way to show that you really did an in-depth study of the market yourself, that you really did your due diligence. And just as it mentions here, good to have a summary of the industry and then add it to make the business plan thicker. For the most part, it won't be read except for the summary that you're going to do. So when you're doing the industry summary, here's some things that you want to hit on. Describe the industry. If the industry is growing or declining, it's okay if it's declining, but how much and what's going on? What are the major trends in the industry? What is your outlook concerning business activity in which you're engaged? List any trade associations or regulatory agencies. This is important to describe, and I'll give you some examples. One is we did a loan recently for a chiropractor, and in the lending community, there is a concern. In Florida, there's something known as a PIP insurance, which is if you got injured in an accident, can you go to a chiropractor to get some free care? A lot of the lenders thought that the rules have changed, so now it's very difficult for a chiropractor to get reimbursed, and that's going to affect their revenue stream. So this would be a good place to list what the industry trends are. There's going to be a spot later where you can talk about how you can overcome them. In the case of the chiropractor scenario, is he has a friend who's a doctor who can sign off on them, and he sends them most of the referrals. So it's not going to slow him down, but it's something you wanted to list as far as an industry trend. So if you could, like I said, any extra stuff on your thing, if you want to make your business plan thicker, if you think it's not thick enough, this is a great place to add it where you talk about the industry that you're in. And after that, we're going to get into the competition and the competitive advantage reference. This is a very important one and something I want to talk face-to-face about.